guys, it's Alice, and today I'm going to share 3 books with you where one of the main themes in all of them is grief. So this is obviously kind of a sad topic, and some of you may be thinking, why would I want to read a book about grief? But personally, I think it's really important and helpful and fascinating to read about grief both in fiction and in nonfiction, because people have really different ways of dealing with grief and they have different processes of getting through it, and it's something that all of us will experience in our lives, and I just think it's a really interesting theme in books. Alright, so first up we have Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. This is translated from Japanese and it contains 2 stories about 2 different women, and it deals with grief, love, and life. I remember really liking this because it deals with life in the modern world and it captures this completely overpowering grief. And I remember really liking the way the author captured the loneliness of the characters and just the sadness of it. It deals with ordinary life and not a lot really happens in here, but it's written in such a good way that it's still worth reading about. And it is kind of slow, but it's also quite short, so it works. Secondly, we have got The Man with the Compound Eyes by Woo Ming-yi. This is also a translated book. It's translated from Taiwanese, and in it we follow 2 main characters. One is a young boy who is living on an island, and he is the second son in his family, and that means that he needs to be sacrificed to the gods. And then the other one is a woman living on the mainland, and she has lost both her lover and her child, and she has determined that she wants to die because she sees no point in living on. I read this quite a few years ago now, and I remember thinking it was like a breath of fresh air, and it's a book that I still think about quite a lot. I remember just loving reading about our main characters and their stories and seeing the journey that they go on, and I really don't want to give anything away, but I really liked the way their stories went. I also remember loving the setting of this and the themes in it in general, not just the grief theme, but everything else is just so good. Lastly, we've got some poetry, and it is Undying by Michelle Faber. This collection is about Faber's wife, who sadly passed away after having battled cancer for 6 years, and it is so heartbreaking. One thing I really like about this though is that you get to read poetry about their relationship before the wife got sick, during her illness, and then after she passed away, and you really feel like you get to know their love, and that makes you understand his grief all the more. And I also really like that this doesn't shy away from the ugly and the angry bits of grief. It sort of embraces all of it. It's a very powerful collection, and I revisit it all the time because it's just so good. And if you want a little bit of a taste of what this is like, there's a little bit of a poem on the back here, and it says, "All I can do in what remains of my brief time is to mention to whoever cares to listen that a woman once existed who was kind and beautiful and brave, and I will never forget how the world was altered beyond recognition when we met." Okay guys, those were all the books that I had to share with you today. This was maybe a little depressing, I don't really know, but that's how life is sometimes. And I would love to know if you guys have read any of these books, or if you have read a book in your life that dealt with grief that you thought was really good and maybe helped you in some way. And I will see you soon. Bye!